Hi everyone, welcome to another interesting tutorial. I'm Dami of 𝐓𝐻𝐇. Today we'll be learning how to make this beautiful dress. It's a cut together with sleeve with an underbust cut and high hip gathers. So if this is what you are looking at to learn, please stay to the end of the tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you step by step on how to cut it and how to sew each of the pieces to get this beautiful dress. So please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, drop beautiful comments. If you are joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us today. If you are yet to subscribe, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell to get notified anytime we have a new tutorial. For our returning subscribers, thank you for always coming back. If you want to join my WhatsApp group, the link will be in the description box. So thank you for joining us and let's get started. Out the outline needed for this, so the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust, the underbust, the waist, and also the hip line. So now we're going to start by inputting all of our basic measurements. So we'll start with the shoulder divided by 2. We'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, then we'll connect it together. So after that, I'll go ahead to mark out my bust span, that's the nipple to nipple measurement, divided by 2. I'll mark it down to the hip line, then I'll connect the dotted lines together. Okay, so then I'll go ahead to impute all of the other measurement, the bust divided by 4. So I'm going to mark in the bust measurement up to the waistline. So the difference we have in the underbust and in the bust is what we'll be using as our dart intake. So the waist is 8 inches and the underbust measurement is 8.5. So the difference is what we'll be using as the dart for the waist and also for the underbust tightening. So the difference I have here is 2.75. So I'm going to be splitting it on both sides of the nipple to nipple line, and I will do the same thing also for the underbust measurement. So once I'm done marking it out now, then I'll go ahead to connect it. The dart is going to be stopping ½ inch before the bust line, so I'll connect the dart lines together. So whatever I have on the waist as my dart, I'm going to be taking it down to the hip line. So the dart is going to be extended up to the hip line, so I will make the extension here like this. So then we can go ahead to impute our hip measurement. My hip divided by 4 is 10.5. I'll mark it out, then I'll add a 2.75 dart intake for that we have on the hip line. Then I'm going to connect in the hip measurement to the waist measurement like this. Alright, so for the shoulder now, it has an extended shoulder. So for this particular one I was drafting, I added 5 inches, but later I realized that it was too long, so I reduced it to 3 inches. So you can do as well to just use your 5 inches. Then I'll go down by 1, connect it to 3 inches neck width for that shoulder slope. Then for the wideness of the sleeve, I went down by 8.5 for the wideness of the sleeve, that's like the armhole, right? So I make that one, then I connected it to the main body. So we have our armhole line like this. So from where it's connected, you see that it's just straight up, so we need to make a slice curve there so that it will relax very well. So you can use your free hand or you can use your curve rule to make the curve as seen here like this. Okay, so this dress is in 3 parts. It's the first part stop on the underbust, the one from the underbust to the hip line, and also the hip line down we have the gathers like this. So just take notes, we have 3 parts for this dress. So now next is to draw out the neck measurements. So I'm going to be using the wideness of 3.5 and the depth also of 3.5. It's kind of like an eye neck it has in the front. You can just go ahead to do any neck design of your choice. So now that we have this, now we're just going to be labeling each of the parts. So the first part, the second, and the down part that we have the gather. So now we'll go ahead to cut out the pattern. So you just carefully cut it out as seen here. So please, if you are yet to subscribe for my channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell to get notified anytime you have a new tutorial. And also don't forget to drop beautiful comments for this video, give this video a thumbs up, and also share the video. So now we're going to be cutting, separating the parts. Now on the underbust we are going to be cutting it out, and from the underbust down to the hip line you can decide to close your dart, or you can just decide to cut it out as seen like this. So I cut out my own dart like this. And also don't forget to label each of the parts. It is very important so that you not mix them up together when you are trying to join them together. So now we have closed the darts for the that part. So now if you place it to the underbust, you know that there is a difference in the length now. So the difference is what we'll be using as soft gather so on the underbust. So let's keep this aside to draft the back bodice. Okay, so for the back bodice, I've also drawn out the outline. We have the chest line, the shoulder line, the bust, the waistline, and also the hip line. So on the shoulder line I went ahead to input my shoulder divided by 4 and do the same thing also on the chest line, and I connected it together. So don't forget, for the front we did the extension of 5 inches, which I said I later reduced to 3.3 inches. So we'll step down by 1 inch, then connect it to the 3 inches neck width for your shoulder slope like this here. So we'll go ahead now on the waistline. Let's do the sway back for relaxed back. So I stepped in by 0.75 on the waistline and connected it up, and also blended it into the hip line. So now for the front we did not do bust darts because it is not very firm on the upper part. So now I don't want my back center back to be too long, so we are going to be doing a little bit of tightening. So on the waistline on both sides I step in by up and down by 0.75, then I connected this. So we are going to be closing this to reduce the length on the center back. It's not going to be affecting the side, so it's only the center back. So then go ahead to mark out the bust span of 3.5 up to the hip line and connect the lines together. Okay, so go ahead. Also I went ahead to impute my bust measurement and also the waist measurements. Don't forget, it is the difference in the two that I'll be using as the dart intake. So for this now I have the difference of 1.5. So before drawing out the dart line and the dart leg, let's close this tightening we did on the underbust. So you just carefully cut it out and overlap it, and you just secure it down. So when you are doing this, please be careful so that you don't have too much folding. So once you are done closing it successfully, you just secure it down with gum or with your paper tape as seen like this. So after doing that now, we then go ahead to impute our dart measurement. So just go ahead to draw out the side joining. So the dart intake we have is 1.5, then I'll be dividing it on both sides of the bust span line. So I have 1.5, then the dart is also going to be extending up to the hip line. So once you are done with the dart now, you impute your hip measurement divided by 4, and don't forget to always add your dart intake also. Then go ahead to connect it together. So for the front we use the sleeve opening of 8.5. I'm doing the same thing here. Then I will cuff it down to the bust line so that it will be relaxed on the armhole part like this. So then you can go ahead to connect the lines together as seen like. Okay, so for the back neckline now, we use the neck width of 3.5 for the front, so we'll do the same thing for the back. So from the shoulder line we step down by 1.5 to make a curve to the 3 inches. So this back has a keyhole, so it's going to be having the button on the neck area. So step down by 1 for the button area. So we are going to be extending this neck up to the bust line. That is how open it's going to be. So you are going to be extending it down. Now it depends on how open you want the keyhole to be, so you can make yours to be very wide, but mine, I think 2.5 is okay for my own. So I have the neckline like this. So in the original design now, it's the back has lacing, but I'm not making lacing for my home. So if you want to do your lacing, you just cut out the lacing parts. You can make out like 1.5 or 2 inches on the center back, but I'm going to be using zip for my own. So once you are done with this now, you can go ahead to cut it out. So this back also comes in 3 pieces. We have the one that is stopping on the bust line, from the bust line down to the hip line, and also down that we have the gathers. So we'll be cutting it first on the bust line. So we'll cut it on the bust line like this, and this is our neckline. So we have the back like this. Also, we're going to go ahead to label it so that's not to mix it up, and also cut out the darts legs. So this is the back bodice. We'll bring it together with the front now. So we want to see with the illustration we made from the waist down to the hip, you see that it is equal for both front and the back. So I'll be using this Ankara print for it now. So I'll go ahead to cut it out and add all the necessary allowances that we need for the dress. This is what we have after cutting it out on the fabric. I've gone ahead to add all the necessary allowance. The center front is on fold. I added 0.5 allowance round it. For the side front, on both the hem, I added 0.5, and for the side, I added 1.5, and I did the same thing for the back. So for the joining together now, you are going to be opening the center front on the underbust area. Then you are going to be connecting. You'll be joining it together with the both side front by 0.5 inch allowance like this. Then I'll do the same thing for the lining. So the upper part also, I've cut it with its own lining. So you are going to be turning the neckline and also the armhole area by 0.5 inch allowance. So keep this aside, and we'll repeat the same thing also for the back. So the back, you have 2 pieces for, because of the zip we'll be having at the back. So you join the center back and the side back, you join it together also, and also you go ahead to join the lining. The upper part also, I'll be using lining to turn the neckline, the zipper area, and also the arm. So this is what I got after turning each of them together. So this is the upper part now. The next we'll be doing is to be joining them together on the shoulder line to conceal the rough edge. So you just put the right side facing the right side together. Then you put your hand through the lining of the front or either the back to bring them together on the shoulder line like this. So you make sure that the fabric is facing the fabric and the lining to the lining, and you join it by 0.5 inch. So after joining the shoulder line, this is what we have. We have successfully concealed the rough side. So the next thing is to be bringing the down part together to join to the upper part now. So I've notched the down part here, and also I've notched both on the center front. So we'll be placing the notched area to each other. Don't forget, the upper part of the front is wider than the down part. So we'll be using the SS there as a soft split for the underbust area. So we'll be pleating it together as seen like this. So once I'm done joining the fabric together, I'll bring the lining also. So I'll use the lining to turn it in like this to also conceal that joining of that part. So I will do that for the front, then I will do the same thing for the back body. So here is the outcome after joining on the underbust area for the front. You see the inside now. We've concealed it with our lining, and I've also done the same thing for the back also. Don't forget, this back is going to be having a zip, so this is my zipper allowance for the down part. So once you are done with this now, the next to do is to be joining them together on the side. So you make sure the shoulder line aligned together. I added 1 inch allowance after turning, so it's remaining 1 inch. So I'll be joining them to the hip line by 1 inch allowance from the armhole area. Then I will do the same thing for the other side also. So after joining on the side now, we are going to be fixing the down part, which is the gathered part. This dress is in 3 parts. So for the gathered part now, to know the calculation of the gathered part, we are joining together on the hip line. So you make your hip at least hip times the times 4 of your hip measurement should be the wideness of the gathers. And to know the length of the gathers now, my hip line is 27 inches. So I subtracted it from my full gown length, since it's a full length dress I'm making of 16 inches. So whatever we have is what we'll be using as the length of the gathers. So once you're able to get that now, we'll go ahead to fix the gathers on the hip line. Alright, so this is the results after joining the gathers. I've also gone ahead to join it together on the center back, and I've fixed the zip and also the button on the neckline. So this is the result of the dress. So thank you for joining us in our class today. I hope you're able to learn something new, and we'll see you in the next class.